Everyone, welcome to virtual lesson 10, finding zeros using the quadratic formula. So remember that zeros are the same things as x-intercepts or solutions. All three of those are the same thing. And they can be found by factoring, using square roots, or now the quadratic formula. So there's three ways that you can find them. We've already talked about the first two. This is the third way, and this is sort of like the last one that you would use. And it is a formula. Remember that formulas are set up for us. All we do is plug in the right numbers into the right spots and solve. So, that being said, here's the quadratic formula. It looks kind of complicated, so we're going to break it down into three pieces. First things first, notice that there's this plus minus in the middle. That means you're going to have up to two answers, one being the plus and one being the minus. We've kind of seen that before. However, it is possible not to have two answers, and I'm going to talk about that as we go through these slides. Then, this thing out front should seem kind of familiar, negative b over 2a. That's the vertex, and we already did the vertex. We practiced doing that when we first started learning about quadratics. And then the very last piece is the square root part. This is the discriminant. And what we're going to practice is finding that first so that the rest of this is a lot easier. Today, our goal is just to find this part, the discriminant. And it's b squared minus 4ac. One of the cool things about formulas is a lot of times people come up with songs to help us remember them. So I'm going to play for you a quadratic formula song.
Plus or minus the square of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Alright, and we'll stop him there. But it's kind of catchy, and if you listen to it enough times, it gets really stuck in your head, and then you don't have to worry about forgetting it. Alright, so let's talk a little bit more about this thing I said that was called the discriminant. So it's b squared minus 4ac, and when you get your answer, it's either going to be negative, 0, or positive. It has to be one of those three things because those are the only types of numbers we know of. If it's negative, then the graph has no zeros, and it looks something like this. If you notice, it never crosses the x-axis. If this all equals 0, then it has 1, 0. Notice how this barely touches once and then goes back down. And if you get a positive number, you have two zeros. 1, 2. This one's the most common and will show up the most while we do our unit. So let's get into our first example. B squared minus 4ac is right up here. That's your formula. And what we're going to do is just list what a, b, and c are first. So a is the number out front, that's 2. B is the number in the middle, negative 5. And c is the last number. And then what we're going to do is plug these numbers into the right spots. So for b squared, that's going to turn into negative 5 squared. And then minus 4 will always be there. This minus 4 has to be there. It's part of the formula. And then a goes next, which is 2, and c goes next, which is 8. And then what we're going to do is type that into a calculator, and our answer ends up being negative 39, which is a negative number, so we have no zeros. Okay? Now let me go show you why that's negative 39, or prove to you that it is. I just had to show you that because it's going to show you the answer anyway. Try this. So we're going to do negative parentheses, negative 5 parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses 2 parentheses 8. Look at that, negative 39. So all you have to do is type it in your calculator like this, but be careful because you absolutely 100% have to put this in parentheses with the squared afterwards. Okay? That's pretty much it for today. Alright, example 2. So this time, you'll notice there isn't a number in front of x squared. What number do we always put in front of it if it doesn't have a number? 1. Then b is 6 in the middle, and c is 9 at the end. And then we're going to do b squared minus 4ac again. B is 6, so it's going to be 6 squared minus 4, always there. Then a is 1, and c is 9. So we're really just plugging in the right numbers into the right spots based off of what letter they represent. And then 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 9 is 0. And since that's 0, we have 1, 0. Okay. I'm going to show you how that works in the calculator. Parentheses 6 squared after the parentheses minus 4 parentheses 1 parentheses 9 is 0. There you go. Alright, this is going to be our last example for today. 3x squared minus 8x minus 4. A is the first number, 3. B is the middle number, negative 8. And C is the last number, negative 4. Notice how I'm not including any of the x's with this, it's just the numbers out front. And then b squared is going to be negative 8 squared. Minus 4 is always there. And then a is 3 and c is negative 4. Okay? I'm going to go type this in my calculator here in just a second, but I should get an answer of 112, which is a positive number, so it has 2 zeros. Parentheses, negative 8. Oops. There we go. Squared minus 4, parentheses, I forgot what number it was. Go check. 3, parentheses, negative 4. Forgot one of my parentheses. There we go. 112. And it does not matter how high or low of a positive it is. It's any type of positive that's 2 zeros. Okay? And that was our last example, so I'm going to flip over to the assignment for a second and kind of run through it for you. Okay, here we go. So here's your question of the day. What is the most creative meal / snack / food you've created during this time? Come up with something good. I'd like to see it. Maybe you can share it with your friends too, because maybe they want to make it at their house. I don't know about creative, but my favorite thing that I've made so far since I've been at home has been a homemade stovetop popcorn, where you put it in like a pan with oil and stuff. It is delicious. Anyway, moving on. You are going to move these numbers right here over to here based off of the A, B, and C values of this equation, then this equation, then this equation. Okay? Then you're going to type for me what A, B, and C are. Tell me the discriminant. This just needs to be a number. You don't need to show me your work. And then tell me how many zeros it has. Either write 2, 1, or none. Okay, and you're going to do that for the next 3 slides. And that's about it, guys.